Hello and welcome everyone to another stream from Division 1 in the Revolt Racing League here with in a hot seat alongside with the entire Revolt scene and of course your one and only Honk commentator here in the scene. Welcome everyone.
Shout out chat. Shout out GoTerra. Thank you for being here today.
Wait, 1 second. Okay, I need to correct one thing real fast. Somehow I can hear you double, but I know why. But give me just a moment.
Classic.
Classic, yes, classic. And then we'll go back to the.
Hello.
Yes, now should be fine. Now should be fine. Okay. So today we're gonna have Playday 4, obviously, but now we welcome you to the pre-show. We've got 30 minutes where we're just gonna talk about what happened, and holy shit, I actually have a lot of to catch up because I couldn't see the Playday 3. Sucks, but life happened. I got a new job, had to drive to another city, blah blah blah. You know the story, you know the boring stuff, who cares about life? We should all be gaming for life, so it is what it is. So Hong gonna just give me all the information that happened, and yeah, how we gonna do it? Yeah, we're just gonna for now recap. And holy shit, Hong, you're gonna do all the talking because I have no idea. I only see the tables after the 4 playdays. So we're just gonna start with Division 3, where I see Lopezka still in the lead, but not really much.
Yeah, okay. So let me pull it up here. We're starting with Division 3. We've got Lopezka. But as you can see, Tova, very close. These are the overall standings. So let me pull up exactly what happened. That's right. We actually had Lopezka in 6th place in the 4th session for Division 3. And we'll get more into the details of this session soon because we're about to cover Division 1 of the same session. This was the circuit session. But Lopezka went for a bit of an off-meta move, going with the Cougar and the Hummer. And it did not quite... He was very upset that you weren't there, by the way. You're laughing.
He was?
This reminded me of that. He was very upset that you weren't there. And because he was racing for you, and he did win Darkvale Forest, the first track, but then he really blundered through the rest. Hard to blame him. Tough matchup there. But we did have Tova, who won the session. And Tova is... he's always been around in the community for a while. He's been competing. And it's good to see him pick up a W here in the circuit session. It makes sense with him being the competitive driver that he is. We also had Kondrakov in second, Kippy in third, who couldn't quite find his grip, and then Roddick and Kotick, who have been evenly matched throughout this entire season. They tied with 76 points each, and I think Roddick got 1 second place, which put him right above Kotick, right into fourth place.
Yeah, I'm just
So,
trying to see the
yeah.
detailed standings from the last play day. I'm sorry, Lpeska. I know you do a lot of stuff. You wanted to have me watch you win, whatnot. But talking about some of the stats so far in the Division 3s, from what I see, we've got Lpeska, who won twice so far the session out of 4, so he's 50% win rate. And he won overall 10 races in 4 sessions. I think it's pretty nice overall.
Yeah, Lopeska is a seasoned racer for sure. And although he may have sessions like this where he goes for something a bit innovative over maybe something more tried and true, but I still like to see him going for it, and he's going to be a threat no matter what.
Okay, so we're just gonna jump now to Division 2, which is also really hyped. I mean, every division is probably hyped. Even though,
Surprisingly.
yeah, even though you would, consider Lopeska just dominating Division 3, but it's still pretty close. He's only 2 points ahead
Yep.
of Kowalski. There's still Kondrakov and Kipi fighting, so it's really nice there. But let's
Yep.
check the Division 2 right now. And here we have the probably most hyped player in Division 2, TT, leading the pack here.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to talk about domination in out of all of the RVRL, it is TT. Now it might not seem that way. You might look at the scores right here and say, "Oh, Super's only 10 points behind." But what you don't know is that TT was not there for week 3. He has 0 points for week 3, whereas Super has a score of 13 or above for every single week. So that does show you just how ahead of the field TT is. He's got 3 sessions that he showed up to, and he's got 3 wins under his belt. So, interesting scenario for sure. Now, we were going to say something similar about Taco. He started out with 2 second places, and then he missed third place or the third session. But he did not come through with the second place in the circuit session. He only got 5 points in the circuit session. So there has been a shift in the ranks as far as second, third, fourth goes. We had Ashen with 25 points, a win in the My Race session, and then a third place, I believe, in the circuit session after 2 very slow starts to begin the RVRL. So Ashen is moving up in the ranks. Taco has moved down in the ranks a bit. Unfortunately, Marquito could not make it to the last session. We have ROG, who again is our mobile racer from Cuba, had the monumental occasion of being the first ever race win on a mobile phone here at the RVRL. Happened a couple weeks ago, and he did pretty well for himself once again.
And I have to say,
one more note:
yes,
Copysoft. Copysoft with 20 points, second place. He missed 2 sessions. Keep in mind, they take your best 7 out of 10. So he can, if he makes all the rest of the sessions, he could come from 9th place and be a major threat.
yeah, so you still can miss out a session and be good. But one thing to mention compared to the Play Day 3, I see that even though TT won 3 sessions, he won 8 races compared to, for example, 10 races from Lopeska. So
Yeah.
it says that even though he doesn't win all the races, he has to be pretty consistent in a top 3 finishes overall in the races. So this is insane, actually. So you don't. It reminds me kind of GeForce as well. Like he may be not winning a lot of individual races, but he's always finishing in the top 3, top 3, top 3.
Yeah, and the average points per session shows exactly what you're saying. So
Actually, yeah, he is 25 and Lopeska is 19. So yeah, this is, and we're gonna compare it with Division 1, who has the highest average point per session in overall league. Because keep in mind also that Lopeska is an ex-Division 1 player, so arguably he should be dominating the Division 3, but the average point doesn't show this. So we're gonna check now the Division 1, how the standings are after the 3 play days and not 4, because today we're gonna have the 4th play day. And it's correct, right? GeForce is in the lead. Yeah, he is in the lead. And okay, because we were talking about the average points, and yes, GeForce is in 19 average points per session. So TT is the highest scoring average point player in the overall league so far.
Now, I would like to qualify that statement and say it seems like when the racer doesn't show up to a session, that's not necessarily calculated into the average. So if we calculate in the 0 points for TT on the My Race session, it might look a little bit different. But regardless, if you just look at the standings, I mean, for example, GeForce out in first place in Division 1, he had 2 third places and a first place. Even Lopesca, two first places, sure, but you can't beat the consistency with which TT has gotten those first places. Every race he's managed to show up to, he has dominated. So, interesting for sure. GeForce, like we mentioned, the current, reigning champion, the winner of the last RVRL, and he is leading this RVRL as well with 57 points. Like we mentioned, 2 third places and got a first place out on the My Race session, which put him ahead of Frostbitten, who is keeping it close, 2 seconds and a third for Frostbitten. Yun, I will say, was our previous leader before the My Race session, but he only got 6 points there in the My Race. He did win the advanced track session though, and advanced was a very straightforward type of session. It was just, are you good at advanced cars? That was basically the question that was asked, and Yun said, yes, I'm quite good at them. He was only able to get 10 points on the pickup session, but still, in the just downright racing, normal cars, normal tracks, he killed it.
Okay, so we have some unfortunate information so far, because GeForce, Jan, and Sting are not joining us today for the session, unfortunately. Lampert is probably missing as well, so we might see a new session winner today, because yeah, GeForce is missing, Jan is missing. Lagerok, yeah, he won impressively, so impressive, winning the classic with the picks on. He unfortunately only got 8 points for the My Race, which is, I don't know exactly which place, but also a couple of stats I would like to mention, because so far in okay, third division, because I want to talk about the players that won individual races. In Division 2, only 2 players, Rod from Portugal and Wasowski from Italy, didn't win a single race yet. But and in first division, only 4 players didn't win a single race so far, which would be Nick, Ama, Lampert, and Tom Dom. And I think like Tom Dom, yeah, I think like you were hyping Tom Dom a lot before the season.
Yeah, I was, because Tom Dom is one of our promotees. He was in Division 2 in the last RVRL, but he got upgraded to uh, First Division. So it's kind of a big fish in a small pond versus, putting yourself in that more competitive scenario. He could have, I mean, with the way the qualifications are set up, he earned this. It wasn't like he was in his head like, I want to get Division 2 or I want to get Division 1. He just raced better this time around. He's in Division 1. He's definitely got his work cut out for him. But I think Division 1 is definitely the right place for Tom Dom. And I think if he keeps practicing, he can find some positions for sure.
Okay, well said, well said. So, again, compared to individual races, top of the league is GeForce with 6 wins, so it's still a little bit below what we have with TT 8 races won in Division 2 and Lopezka 10 races won in Division 3, but still consistency, right? 3 times GeForce finished third. 1 time he won the session frostbitten. He didn't win a single session yet, but twice second, 1 time fourth. So still great consistency from him. Okay,
Yes.
okay. So right now let's go to today playday, because okay, first we're gonna go through the rules just so everyone knows. But probably all of you guys know the game, but maybe there is someone who doesn't know what is going on. He sees the revolt for the first time and he would like to see, okay, guys, like, do they only race? Why there are weapons or why there are no weapons? So we have different sessions for every week, and today the rules are that we're gonna have six races lasting about 10 minutes each. You have to race all the other races with only one car. This is actually a cool feature because you cannot change a car, right? So you stick to the one car. And we've got Toyeka, Exit TC, or Chimera TC. We're gonna go back to this Hong, because those two cars I don't really remember from my mind what are those cars and how they compare to the overall of Toyeka, as you all say. I would
Yeah.
like to know more about those two cars. If you don't choose
Great.
any of them, you can choose Hama, Cougar, and AMW. I know those cars. Obviously, Cougar is the best car in the game, and swap freely through the sessions. So why wouldn't you pick Cougar? I mean, come on, guys. using using unintended shortcuts is strictly forbidden. That rule you need to explain to me. Like, what is an
Mhm, mhm.
unintended shortcut?
Sure. So basically, not going to go super into detail, but the way that circuit tracks are designed, for example, if you go, it's a much stricter way of racing in a circuit session. You can't just be driving all over the track, and the track is set up so that it will forcibly repo you and set you back if you try to do so. Now, there are um, one, maybe two certain cuts that are clearly not intended by the track designer for a circuit track. If you don't know, if you feel like, oh, I found this sweet line that nobody knows about, well, you might want to check with the admins before the race starts, because if you, I mean, we're not going to, bring light to the situation and tell you exactly what the cuts are, but if you feel like, this doesn't seem like a circuit track would have this, you're probably better off not doing it, because we will disqualify you if you are using one of those forbidden cuts.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. And we still have the MotoGP points is upgraded from the last season. So again, you see for the winner is 25 points, second place 20, third 16, and then 13, 11. And if you are last, you get 0 points. So this is one of the changes, because I think like last season the last place was getting 1 point at least, I guess, but I don't remember
Mm.
correctly. So okay, what tracks? Okay, and now is the question. Tell me, what is the XZTC or Chimera TC? What are those cars? Come on.
Yes, it would be my pleasure.
And
So
tell me
basically,
and tell me why they are inferior to Cougar as well.
okay, great. I will have a harder time with that one, but I can definitely answer the first one. So basically, EXCTC and Chimera TC are non-stock cars. They're custom-made cars, and they are comparable to the Toyota in their abilities. I would personally say EXCTC is the front runner of today's session. In these style of tracks, it's probably going to be preferred. But we like to have the stock options available, especially in Division One. There are lots of purists who prefer playing just the stock cars, especially. So we leave Toyeka in there as a kind of a catch-all. If you just want to have your Toyeka, you can have it, but it will be marginally worse than the EXCTC, just a little bit. It's overcomable, and Division Two and Division Three have shown that. But I think EXCTC has a little bit of an edge. Uh, Chimera TC is just a more stable car, more balanced, or just a tighter driving car, but it's slower. So I don't think we'll see a ton of Chimera TCs, especially in Division One. We might. Um, Shout out Joe Blueberry, by the way. And as far as the last combo, if you really want to just be crazy, you've got the AMW Hummer, and Cougar, and you can switch freely between them. For
Nice.
example, Cougar has great top speed, but bad acceleration. So if
Yeah.
you're on a track that is more top speed oriented, you can rock the Cougar. And then if it comes to one of those super technical tracks where the Cougar is going to leave you dead in the water, they do give you the option to be able to swap to the Hummer or to the AMW if you're extra crazy. But I would say, as far as we're concerned, EXCTC expected to be the front runner, but especially in this lobby, lots of people are going to be using that trusty Toyeka to try to just as a comfort pick.
Okay, so now we're gonna take the track list. What we have.
Great.
Unfortunately, I don't know the tracks and we don't have the track preview, so
Yeah.
that will be good for me. But we've got Dark Vale Forest, Green Haze, Wale, RV Simo on. Like, why do you make it
Some
so
cool
hard?
track names, for sure.
But it's actually 27 laps, so it has to be a short track, honestly.
Exactly.
Okay, Tune
Exactly.
Speedway, LS Tama Wale, Route B, and James on Weeds Raceway. Come on,
Yeah.
who even comes up with those names? Come on.
Well, first of all, Darkvale Forest is like a Gran Turismo track. And then we've got Green Haze Valley, which is a Gran Turismo like track. So if you're a Gran Turismo fan, you're definitely going to have some fun with this today. RV Simo, our more technical track. And then Keitune, a classic LS Tama Valley, maybe one of the lesser like tracks, but then Jimson Weeds, another great track to finish it off. A lot of good tracks today, and circuit fans are going to have a treat.
Okay, so also one of our favorite things to do today, which are predictions. So what you think gonna happen today? Start with your. Okay, how are we going to do? Are we going to give like our top 3 predictions now, or we just you just gonna now analyze the players and then like give like overall from your mind, you know, like from brain's favorites and from your heart, which is like our top 3 predictions.
Ooh, okay, okay. So I'll start with brain, and I'm gonna say the people who are stuck on those stock cars are not going to do as well as the people who are willing to adapt and go with that EXCTC. And those people that I'm expecting, G-Force, Frostbitten, and maybe Nick. I mean, I feel like I say those names a lot, and I should give it to other people too, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling. As far as people that I'm rooting for, and actually, you know what? Let's change that Nick to BGM. And I'm sorry, Nick. I'm very sorry. But the reason why I'm saying BGM is because BGM did so well in the My Race session. So he obviously has very wide car knowledge. And so I think EXCTC could be a good fit for him. So those are my 3 for the head. And as far as the heart,
keep in mind that we don't have
yes.
G-Force today and Yan.
Ah, that's right. Okay, so Frost, BGM, and let's go with Nick. And then as far as my heart goes, Makakowski, Kilobaris, maybe even Kilobaris above Makakowski, and I think Kiki could surprise us too. I want to say Ertu so bad, but I feel like he's going to choose the Cougar, and I'm just not going to choose someone who's going to choose the Cougar because I'm sorry, but it's going to be really tough for you. But you can choose the Cougar, Go Terra. If you want to go for the Cougar drivers, be my guest.
Okay, so before I give my prediction, and write it down, guys, write it down. We should actually have some points predictions as well, so to have fun. But Jerome said to me that his top 3 for today is Powerade, BGM, and Frostbitten. And okay, I have to say, Powerade is probably watching. I regretted not picking you for my top 3 the last time I was here, and you were just rocking it with Lag Rock. But I've seen also one of the streams where you were streaming the endurance race, so this is probably a similar case where there are, you know, like just racing on the track, no weapons, fast cars, whatnot. So this is a tough one, But if I pick top three, okay, I will be a little bit biased again. I will choose Nick. I've seen Nick also
Yeah,
on those endurance, and he was actually giving a lot of fast laps. So it was good. So I'm
for
gonna pick
sure.
Nick, and I don't know, like Lagrock is kind of baiting me to pick him, but I mean like I don't know. I don't know.
Laggy Rug's going with the Toyeka. He's going with the Toyeka, I can tell you right now.
I don't know. If I would pick top four, I would go with Lagrock, but unfortunately I cannot. So if it's top three, I'm gonna pick Nick. I'm gonna go with Frost because I don't know. I feel today Frost gonna win. And the overall thing, he's really consistent. So I think that Frost might win today, and I go with Powerade. I'm not doubting him again. So this is my top three for today: Powerade, Frost, and Nick. With I guess that probably Frost will win entire thing. That's my guess.
Chat, chat is cracking me up. Yeah,
What happened?
I think that those are some just Nick. Finally, Polacco is supporting Polacco. It's unbelievable, man.
So guys, if you
But
want to put your
yeah,
top
yeah.
three, feel free to put it on the chat as well. I gonna remember mine. We've got top three from. Actually, wait. Jerome told Powerade and Frost, so we have two players, the same players on the top three. We just changed. He chose BGM. I went with Nick. So
Yeah.
this is the top three predictions. We'll see if this will happen on or not. Maybe Erzu will win it all with Kogger. I wish. Again, but oh wait, I forgot Killabarus, man. I forgot Killabarus.
Yep. Yep. There were
Oh my.
honestly so many good choices. Powerade, Ama, both deserving of getting shot rinsed by me
I also have
up
such a
there.
strong feeling with Killabarus. Should I change him for Nick now?
I've already got him. I've already got him. So.
I don't know. I just gonna. But I see you, Killabarus. I see you. I see if you're watching. I see you. I think. I don't want to jinx you all, guys. Now you're just gonna now listen
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we're jinxing you with
Exactly.
our
That's what we gotta
predictions.
worry
Like
about.
the pressure is on. They predicted me into the top three. I cannot fail. This kind of
Yeah.
situation. So we've got 5 minutes still for to the first races. But again, just to remind about the prizes, $100 is guaranteed. Remember to support by subscribing. All the subscriptions goes to the prize pool. So if like give that a little $5 subscription, or if you have the Amazon Prime, I for example
Yeah. Yeah.
subscribed with Amazon Prime, so you can also use that. And the donation link is up. We don't have the donations notifications though on the stream, so we would probably read them on the next stream just to inform you. But yeah, we aim to actually fill the entire 500 goal donation. That would mean prizes for all the divisions. I feel like even 300 gold, which is a level 2, would mean the prizes for all the divisions. But $100, the guaranteed prize pool is for Division 1 and Division 2, and the higher prize pool means only not higher money for winning the entire for the top 3 of the entire season, but also additional bonuses for winning the sessions. For example, if you watch session wins of TT, I mean, come on, he is just taking all that pizza money from Division 2, additional potential. So, first race gonna be on Dark Vale Forest, right? This is the first track we've got.
Yep. Yep.
So what can we expect on the first track?
Okay. Yes. So Darkvale Forest. Um. Let's see. I've got to get it back in my head here. I'm thinking of Green Haze Valley, but this is definitely a good track to start us off with. I will say, if anybody is going with the Chimera TC, they are not going to have an especially good time on these first two tracks. And again, those tracks are let me get everything up here. Darkvale Forest and Green Haze Valley. Give me just a second, guys.
What?
That's right. Okay, okay. It just comes to me. This track is very intense. So it's like chill. It's very chill to start, and then there's a very intense middle, and then a chill way to end it. So this track was an absolute treat to watch for both Division Three and Division Two. Lopesca won with the Cougar on this track because of those top speed portions. And yeah, there's basically this really crazy double turn where you're getting all this speed, you got all this top speed, and it goes boom, double, like a double, just like super hairpin turn. And keep in mind, on these circuit tracks, if you tip over the corners, you're going to get auto repoed and you're going to lose a
Oh,
lot of time. So it's a gamble. Do you want to take it at full speed and risk it, or do you want to slow and potentially risk losing pace against your opponents? It's a really big gamble. There's another super important double turn that comes up right after that, and it's going to catch people off guard, especially if they haven't been practicing.
okay, so we're waiting now because we should be starting really, really soon with the first race. If the players are ready, I still don't see if the lobby is up. I hope we don't have a problem with our feed though. Honestly, I'm gonna ask Jeromo.
I just got information. Thank you, Ama. The IO session for today is still going, so there's probably some people competing in that still.
Oh,
So that should be done shortly, maybe like one or two more tracks, and then everybody's going to be ready. In the meantime, if chat, thank you, Kippy. Kippy gifting a sub to Lopesca. Shout out. Thank you, Kippy. Kippy also the inventor of the newest emote that we got in here. So thank you, Kippy.
so I have actually a really good question to you, Hong. Maybe some of
Oh.
the audience could answer is, how do you feel about the meta overall in Revolt, and what could potentially influence a change of the meta? If we talk about cars, for example, or maybe a
Mm.
style of driving.
Yes, so we've got a number of interesting things, ideas floating about. Actually, a number that I've just heard about. Of course, there is the pickup scenario, people discussing can we do different percentages, ratios of the probabilities for pickups, and if we edit it, can we make it better for competitive revolt? But moving away from pickups entirely, because so much of the competitive community does prefer that pickups off driving. There's things like Joker laps, if you've ever heard of that. Basically, you would have to like drive through the pit stop in one of the laps. Out of all the laps that you go, you'd have, or maybe implementing pit stops themselves. Like after a certain amount of being able to edit some kind of pit stop necessity in. So those are kind of things, ways of mirroring the real life racing is kind of what I think people are getting excited for. We've also got something in the works. I'm not sure how close this is, um, but as far as helping with collisions and stuff like that, there's definitely some experimentation there because it does suck, to get ran off the road. But that's how it happens in real life too. So there is kind
You
of
know what
a
would be
charm to that.
extremely cool,
Yeah.
probably? I feel like one of the things that could heavily influence the meta is the car rotation. Like you could, for example, make a season of lasting that of 3 months, and you say like, okay, we only have like a pool of 5 cars for each category, and you can also only use them, or maybe 10 cars of each category, and just shuffle them every season, you know? So you kind of force people not to drive always Toyota, but learn new cars all the time.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good idea. Something like that has been tried to be implemented in IO, but I think in a competitive capacity with an even smaller pool, it could work even better. Of course, the big issue is people just identifying this is the one outlier car that beats all the rest, and then they just use that one, and it's
Yeah,
basically a new
exactly. That's
Toyota.
so.
But if the cars are carefully curated, it could work.
Yeah, it always has to be like risk and a reward, right, for a car, and not just
Hmm.
blindly.
Hmm.
I know like every time the game goes into the point where you just play the most optimal things. That's the best mathematical thing that there is, and you don't try anything new. But if you shuffle,
Yeah.
you always give time to actually rethink. Okay, like what's new, what's good, and people just try, and this is creating the meta. And again, you hit that peak point where you say you find a new Toyeka, but you don't let people drive too much with the same car, and then okay, this is time to
And you
change.
switch.
And again, they
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
figure it out again. Try it out, test. You know.
That's smart. That's really smart. I think that that is definitely something that we should consider moving forward. And I like the idea of something else that could be done would be like weighting cars. For example, if one car emerges as the meta car, if you could make it worth less to drive the car from a points standard, something like that could extend the lifespan of these like car rotations. But I think in essence, your idea of like once that one good car emerges, switch the rules and do it again, it's something that should definitely be considered. And it's something that I don't think we've talked about much in the competitive community. Y'all can weigh in too in the chat what y'all think about, things like that. I know the Toyeka is like coveted in the community, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to move forward from that. But it's definitely something experimental that some people of the community would really get behind.
Yeah, or maybe even bring more strategy to the game where you have like car pool, and I know like and you just have to shuffle the cars between races. Like you can only use car for 2 races, no matter the result, and then you change. And you need to adjust where and when you want to use. Like if you want to start slow if you want to pick the worst car for the tracks that you don't feel strong on, then pick the stronger cars. Like shuffle it. Bring some strategy. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to give out my ideas, but it's always nice to make more variables for the game, where it's not only
Mm-hmm.
perfecting a lap with one car. Because I feel like with time
Yeah.
it gets a little bit stale. I have to say, it's a huge props to Famous for being so strong, but whenever I'm watching the endurance races, it's kind of boring, you know? Like, you're just watching him dominate so hard, and like, how you gonna catch a guy that basically can drive a lap with blind eyes? One thing is that it's props for working really, really hard, right? But again, on achieving that, but again, for the viewer, it's kind of he's just gonna win, and it's like
It
whatever.
depends on what kind of viewer you are. I mean, a lot of people are really into seeing somebody be able to bring it because guess what? Not all of these tracks are tracks that he's an expert on. Yes, Supermarket One, that's his favorite combo in the entire world is Toyeka Supermarket One, and yeah, he won, but it's not like he won by 1,000 meters. He won by like for most of the track, he was leading for like 100 meters max, which is one catastrophic mistake away. And then we had Game Room where it honestly looked like Kippy, or not Kippy, but Kiki was going to rewrite history, and we were going to have a new a victor after so much of Frost and Famous. So it really depends on what kind of viewer you are, because I know there's a lot of hardcore competitive Revolt fans that love that. Just seeing, one person defend the title.
Okay, so what do we see so far? I know if those are the cars already, but Nick is on RV Loca. Is that the car for today?
Well, I'm assuming he's hosting. He must be in the spectator position with that because that is not an allowed car.
Ah, yeah.
But he does love rocking that RV Loco when he doesn't have to drive. I thought he told me he was driving today, so
Yeah,
expect to see him
Makakowski is
swapping.
on XZTC, Powered with
Okay.
XZTC, Mati XZTC, Tom
Yep.
Dom Ama, Frost, Lager, all on Toyeka, Kilabars on XZTC, so it's only XZTC and Toyeka so far. Oh wait, Erzo is on the Chimera TC. I think that car was also for today's races, so a little bit
Hmm.
diversity, but still Toyeka and XZTC dominating the pack.
For sure. For sure. And that's no surprise. It's that division of people who want to race the best car versus people who want to race their comfort pick on that Toyeka Camaro TC. Not evenly matched, especially on those first two tracks. You're going to be hurting really hard. And Division 1 racers are going to be comfortable on a car like EXCTC. And so I'm ready to see them bring it out. Of course, Ashen Forest, for example, did work on that Camaro TC. I think he got third place with it after a horrible first two tracks, again, because of the limitations of the car. So it's definitely doable. If Ertzu does it, for example, he loves driving those off meta picks. I think he could definitely make something work with it. He's obviously making a statement by choosing that instead of the Cougar Hummer combo, because we do know him as a bona fide Cougar enjoyer. So we'll see.
Okay, and we're still waiting. Wait, Nick is ready. Okay, even if you're ready, your card is not locked, right?
He needs to swap. Yeah, the card's not swap. He will. I don't mean he needs to, but he will swap. The card is not locked in. So yeah, just to go over, we got Makakowski, Maddie, Power8, Ertsu, Tom Dom, Ama, Frostbitten, Laggy Rock, Kilobars, and B. So a number of big names, a number of the people lower on the field as well. So this is a chance for both different sides, the lower field, to start working their way up that ladder by showing up to every single session and making progress. We've got the people at the top who are trying to get those points started rolling. And guess what? In a lobby where G-Force isn't there and a bunch of other top racers, Yun's not there, now's the time to snag some points. A 25-pointer is going to be a lot easier when you don't have to compete against people like them.
Yeah, so okay, it's confirmed that Sting, Lamp, G, Yan, and Kiki are missing, so we have 5 players missing. So only 11 players racing today. Still a really nice competitive racing ahead of us. Unfortunately, Lamp is not here. We won't see any, I know, wall bumping.
And he's got that beautiful Toyeka skin too, that I'm just a huge fan of. So
it's a white one.
That would have been
from
cool.
Lampert.
It's like the off-white beige, the Lampert beige style. Yeah, it's very cool. It's got the green, a little muted green. It's very nice.
Famous Toyeka skin is like the ultimate boss. You know, whenever you see, for example, a movie or a cartoon like Cars, and there's this one car that just looks badass and is like the villain of everything. It's just the famous car, you know, like.
I love Kiki's as well. It's got the no worries written on the back, so you're racing and you just see the no worries and you're like, you know what, I can do this. I'm feeling all right. But yeah, it looks like we're about to head in.
Yeah, so Power8 said 6 Exe, 4 Toyeka, 1 Chimera. And yeah, we are ready. We're waiting for the race to start. 10 laps. Darkvale Forest as the first race. And I think we're rolling on.
Okay.
Hopefully a lot of nice clips we're gonna have. And yeah, I fixed instant replay, so we're gonna get it.
Excellent. Can I get that feed? Well,
you have it?
Are you showing on the VMix? Okay,
yeah,
cool,
yeah.
Cool. My bad there.
Okay, wait. Again, the same problem. What is happening with this? Okay, I just gonna...
All good. Okay. For those of y'all who can't see, we actually have Maddie, who is leading this now.
Wait, it's not me, is it? It might be me. Wait, I need to refresh, guys. Sorry. Oh my god,
In the
why?
meantime, Maddie still leading.
Oh my god, what is happening? Okay, guys, I need to check one thing.
80% done.
Need to refresh.
Okay.
Reload.
Power third. Starting their second lap out of 10. Neck and neck, all three. Maddie lining himself up, but Nick's going for the over-under. Does find the overtake.
Okay, we got it.
Yeah, looking good. Okay, now I was a little bit ahead of the time there, guys, but now that we're on that feed, I'll commentate from that. We actually have Frostbitten in ninth, who was predicted to be one of our front runners. Instead, it is Maddie, who none of us predicted at all. Nick and Powerade as well. You see that very important turn. That's the turn that I was talking about with the double hairpin. And we've got another one of those coming up right in front of your eyes. We'll see if Nick goes for the overtake there. He's trying to hold on to it, but Maddie, ooh, Nick barely on the pass. They are neck and neck. We've got one more big turn here that you can get a lot of time on based on how you take it. It is going to be Nick defending. Maddie in second, Powerade in third as they head into lap 3.
Yeah, let's go. Powerade and Nick in top 3. That's my top 3, right? Just frostbitten and all is good. Wait, what happened?
Ooh. So that's the auto repos that I was alluding to in the preview. With these circuit tracks, if you go over the red and white, it will repo you. You are not allowed to go into the grass on those turns and cut over on those turns. It will repo you and you'll lose a lot of time from it. So we see another huge repo section right there. Nobody getting caught up on it. But a lot of times people will sacrifice a lot of speed in order to do that. So headed back towards the front because we've got a lot of action here at the front. Maybe the front 3. Yeah, right here. Maddie, Keela, and Ama fighting for second. Big turn, and Maddie with some defensive driving against Keela. Ama trying to get into the action. Powerade nearby as well in fifth.
That's a nice fight between Kilabars. Oh my god, that turn.
Okay, and Ama on the inside. It will be Kilabars falling out a bit from that. A scary position. At least no one got repoed. They were all 3 wide headed into that turn. Very strange turn. And you'll notice on these circuit tracks, you cannot go into the grass like that. It's really going to throw off your car. You can't just drive through the grass like you can in many of the classic Revolt tracks. And Maddie will fall behind Kilabars as a result. Now, Frost was in 9th when we started watching, but he's moved up to 6th and he's trying to find more. And indeed he will as Kilabars gets cut off and gets repoed.
And Nick in the lead. Really comfortable lead, it seems, from him.
Comfortable.
Unless he makes some kind of a mistake.
Yeah, we're here lap 5, and I would say he's still in view. Certainly still in view, especially if that double hairpin section, if he begins to excessively brake, and if Ama just YOLOs it, then it could definitely be Ama by pace alone catching him back. But we'll have to wait and see. Frost making that Toyota look like it's the superior pick. He's got the perfect lines here. He's set up for that the double and making it look easy. Maddie has to repo, and Frost just one by one picking up his targets, looking for the podium now. Has moved up 5 positions so far. Hopes to move up another 3. Ama got repoed. Now Ama follows behind Frost, and Frost finds the podium.
And what a clean driving from Frost. He's like just chilling, driving there. You know, people just repo all the time. I mean, that was such a nice period of driving.
Yeah. Okay, and we see Nick has not escaped. Powerade is our second place. Frost is accosting him, and Ama has not let go of this action yet. We'll have to see, especially once those hairpins come up, as the pressure is building. They're going to have more and more of a difficult time executing properly through this section specifically.
Yeah, top 3, Nick,
Nailing it.
Powerade, Frostbitten. Well, what a surprise.
Yeah. Story going on exactly as it began from previous weeks leading up until now. These 3 have been putting in work, but Ama, someone we didn't predict either, who is keeping it so close to Frost. Frost has just dominated one racer after another, but Ama is managing to keep Frost only 2 meters away. So this is certainly not done yet for Ama, and he wants that podium. You can tell.
That was beautiful.
On the inside, easy pass.
That didn't look easy at all. That was just beautiful driving from him.
Yeah. And one thing that you may notice is it looks like Ama wall rides through a couple of these sections. One coming up, and you see he holds onto the wall there. I don't know how much of a boost it's giving him, but it's certainly something unique that I don't see anyone else doing. Big turn up ahead, though. Frost positioning himself on the inside for the overtake. He's not going to find it, though. Trying to block off Ama. Ama's going to skirt right around him and not trigger the repo either.
A really nice fight between Ama and Frostbitten, just back and forth, back and forth.
It's unexpected to see Ama getting the upper hand here, but he is.
Why it is not?
Well, Frost has been such a dominant force just in Revolt in general, especially with him on the Toyeka. I'd expect to see him able to win out in this exchange, and he's not able to do so far. They're on lap 8 of 10, and he's still got a lot of work to do. In the meantime, we do have Powery and Nick continuing their fight for first. That's not done yet, but this battle between Ama and Frost is one for the ages, so we've got to stay tuned into that. They've got about 2 1/3 lap left. Ama keeping Frost at arm's length. Now, that was a nice sequence for Frost, and he's going to close the gap somewhat. We got another big turn, like we've mentioned, right here. Okay.
I feel like Ama is just doing better on the turns somehow all the time.
It's surprising.
Only 2 laps. 2 laps left, right?
Exactly. Lap 9, lap 10, and it's over.
This is the entire fight right now. Like, who's gonna get third? Because it feels like Nick and Powerade are in the top 2, and it's really comfortable there. But maybe a repo would mean a lot.
It would, but I think the distance that Nick has on Powerade right now, it's enough for Nick to just be able to play safe and avoid the repos. If he can just avoid the repos, he's got this locked down. But Ama versus Frost, certainly not the same situation. If Ama were to take that double hairpin excessively safely, it could be an easy pass for Frost.
And it's so close, just 1 meter. Literally 1 mistake on a turn. Feels like that was a mistake by Frost, maybe. Losing some speed.
Frost almost on the repo. He had to avoid on that repo, and indeed he did, just by millimeters from the look on my screen. And Powerade! Whoa, Powerade!
What happened?
Bit of a spoiler there for y'all. My bad. I forgot there's a delay on my side. That will not happen again. But Powerade triggering that repo. Again, I'm sorry, y'all. I way spoiled that. Like, y'all would hate to have me in a movie theater. But Powerade hits the repo again. And he has really fallen out of that second place. It's going to be Ama who picks up the second place just by virtue of Powerade falling out of it just a little bit too aggressively on those major turns. Frost not able to find the pass, but he will find the podium. And Keela, Makakowski, Laggy Rock, and Maddie, I am so sorry, chat. That was
maybe
really bad.
Ama as a dark horse of this session today. Tom Dom coming as the last player. Nick with a win though, so really nice by him, I have to say.
Early start. So we've got our lovely replays, which I'm super excited to see. In the meantime, we're going to be calculating the score for y'all. Yep, there is that auto repo, and guess what? Every single track today should be pretty much littered with those. So if you're thinking about going over a corner, maybe think twice because they will catch you. So here was Frost, and you could see he was out in 8th, 9th there on the early laps, moving all the way up to 3rd, almost able to pass Ama. Some excellent driving here by Ama as he gets that overtake.
Yeah, but that was a really rough race for the Powerade as well. He was driving it as the second the entire race, and then on the last lap,
right,
everything just falls.
I would argue that Powerade had an amazing track, and it was just that one mistake. He actually compounded it by hitting another repo, and everything was coming up roses for him, and just wheels fell off in that last lap. The thing was, he wasn't even really trying to pressure Nick. I think that he's got in his head about that turn.
So right now we're just waiting for the table confirmation, but we know that Nick won, so he's gonna have 25 points there. Ama with 20 points in the table. So I just wait for the confirmation that yeah, we're gonna have the table and we're gonna move really, really fast to the next track here. Okay, the table is here. Let's see the standings real fast, and we can jump already to the next race.
Okay.
Nick with a win. Frost. Wait, Frost second? Ama was second.
Yeah, I don't, I don't know what happened. Well, okay, we'll get it all. So we'll get it fixed for the next time. Nick's still riding the high of his first place. So all good there.
Yeah.
Um,
I shout out to Nick because Nick is today filling for us the data. So just small mistake by him. We know that Ama came second. Frost was what, third or fourth?
Frost was third. Powerade fourth. Keela fifth.
Yeah. So
So
it's just
Nick is
Ama.
host. Yeah, yeah.
So it's just
Nick is hosting. Nick is hosting, and he's running the leaderboard, and he's racing. So huge shout out to him.
yeah.
It is Ama with a surprising second place. Powerade almost getting it, but close but no cigar. We are headed to Green Haze Valley, and I'll let them know that we are ready.
Yes,
In the
waiting.
meantime, shout out to Kippy. That's right. I agree with you, Tova. And famous saying, that's the margins in high level no picks races. Indeed, it is. We're here ready to hop into Green Haze Valley, a Gran Turismo like track made by Saf. Shout out to Saf. And a beautiful, just classic Gran Turismo turn to start us off into another big U turn is going to be the initial steps of this race.
That's a really Nick just trying to push through this group of people.
Big downslope turn that's going to throw a ton of people off coming up right now.
Oh!
A couple cars sliding. Another big jump. Easy to get caught by repos here. Nobody will in the front. Another big U-turn, and that's a lap.
I have to say that this track feels a bit harder than the previous one.
Yes. Yes. Very technical track and very rewarding when you play it well. But these cars, especially the EXETC, can be quite finicky on downslope turns like that, like the one that we're about to see. And so each racer has seemed like they've had their own individual strategy for how to counteract that. Some slow down, some go on the left side. We see, I think, I couldn't see quite who that was, but somebody's spinning out. And keep in mind, Ertzu, the sole Chimera TC of the event, and this is a terrible track for the Chimera TC, but he's out in fourth place. So congratulations to Ertzu making it work for now. We've once again got Maddie, who was the leader of the first track early on, and he's fighting with Keela Barris, who was fifth place, and both of them finding better positions here as Maddie had fallen down by the time that last track ended. Once again, we've got Nick in the leadership role, and we see those two different philosophies towards that downward slope turn coming into play. Keela and Nick taking vastly different approaches, but ending up pretty much the same way, almost going crazy and running off the track, just barely bailing themselves out.
And I have to give huge props to Nick because I always say that he feels. I don't know what advice, but for me personally, he feels as a really underrated player. And again, he is in a lead, so maybe today is his day.
It would be great to see. I think he definitely is an underrated player, and we'll see if he's got the nerves to lock this all the way down because we are really just starting our day and also this track. We're just headed to lap 5 of 17 right now, so Nick's got a lot of work left to do. In the meanwhile, headed backfield just a bit. In the midfield area, we've got Powerade, Makakowski, and Ama. We've also got Air 2 and Laggy Rock, as well as B and Frostbitten in 10th. Tom Dom has not been able to find his footing so far, but we're only on track 2 of 6. And just like Frost, Frost is definitely expecting to be able to pass up a lot of people as the track goes on, and maybe Tom Dom will be able to too. The Finnish bros, Amma and Ertzu fighting it out. Ertzu letting him by because he is in that Chimera TC, much slower to top speed. Power 8 going for a wall ride scenario on the EXCTC out in fourth, and the piece de resistance is Nick versus Keela here in this battle for first, and they've got another one of those very tricky downslope turns. Keela seizing the day on the inside, but will he be able to hold on to it? No. No, he will not, and
That
loses
was
3
brutal.
positions.
That was brutal. Maybe a little bit too greedy by Kilabarus. Nick keeping his cool.
Definitely. Definitely. And you can really see the racers make it look quite a bit easier than it is, and it doesn't look easy to begin with. So you can imagine how difficult landing that downslope turn every time is, especially when you're trying to do it at your max possible speed without spinning out.
Okay, someone will have to explain me, does the wall ride on a straight line really adds to the speed? Because a lot of players actually do it.
Yeah,
And
it's
some
kind of
don't.
reminiscent. There's like the Unreal Engine. I don't know if this applies to Quake, but like if you run against the wall in some of those Unreal Engine games, you'll actually be faster. I don't know if that's a similar physics situation here on Revolt, but it does seem like Power 8, for example, is using it to his advantage. Amma was using it to his advantage earlier. But Maddie, I do want to shine a spotlight on Maddie, who another underdog in Division One, absolutely an underdog, and also one of our. I think he was promoted. I don't think he was in Division One last time. He might have been though. He's a strong racer. Now he does get passed up by Power 8 while I'm talking, but still, Maddie holding on to that podium position, and it's certainly not what we predicted. But he's out here doing it nonetheless.
That was actually beautiful turn by Matty here. Oh, jinx it.
Okay. And Maddie finding the block despite losing control. There it is.
And then
There it is.
Nick lost a fight with someone for the first place. Was it Amado? In the first?
Well, I mean, he's currently holding that first place.
Oh wait,
He might
okay.
have lost some ground though, but he basically he does have a lot of comfort zone. Meanwhile, though, I mean, Maddie Power 8, Keela is trying to get in this mix as well. If you didn't notice, those of y'all at home, there he is. Camera wasn't quite on him, but you could hear his engine still if you got those game sounds up. And he taps right into Maddie's fender, sends him off into the grass. Like we mentioned, you don't want to be in the grass on these tracks. It will slow you down quite a lot. And it's back to, well, it's a new fight that's erupted. Maddie has lost 2 positions so far. Was out there in second. We got passed up by Power 8, now passed by Keela Bars. We've got Makakowski and Amma. Amma, who got second place in the last race. He's now sitting in 7th, I believe. Frost has not been able to find many positions. In fact, he's only found 1. And he's sitting in 9th. He did pass up Laggy Rock, and that's it.
And fun fact,
Yes.
bottom top 3, all Toyekas.
Ooh, okay. And we did allude to that the Toyeka might be outmatched by the EXCTC. It's more of a comfort pick. But I will say we've got Ertzu on the Chimera TC. He was in 4th last time we talked about him. He's currently sitting in 8th. So he has fallen back quite a bit. But I'm excited to see what he can do on our next track, which is RV Simo on-road track. It's a doozy, and he will excel at it. So excited to see what he's able to do there. But for now, he is going to be left by the wayside, as we've got Nick out in first by about 25 meters, Power 8 ahead of Keela Bars by about 15, and Maddie trying to make up lost time and pass up Keela for the podium.
And still a couple laps to go. We'll see if Nick actually maintains his lead. Kilabars is still fighting. And Mati.
Yeah, it's just a really risky turn, and you can lose 10 meters, give or take. Keela Bar snatches it right back, though. Says, I'll be taking that, and in fact, blocks Maddie on the wall ride. and pushes him back a bit even. So really close battle between Keela and Maddie. They continue to be locked in
Oh,
here
that was a
on that.
nice one. That was a
Yeah,
nice camera.
the scenic camera angle is something we need to explore more. The developers have been working on making a better spectator experience, but I have to chill because Maddie's on the inside here. He is cooking up something behind Keela's fender, but he's not going to push into him or anything like that. He is going to keep it cool, calm, and relaxed. And you can see, well, they were both wall riding there, so can't see too much. But you know what you can see is that second place still being held onto by none other than actually who? Aquila. No, not Keela. Um, Powerade. Yes, Powerade. Of course, I thought Powerade might be in first, but it's Nick in first. Powerade in second. Maddie has passed up Keela and doesn't get that opportunity. So many people, Powerade and Keela, have both been bullying the hell out of Maddie on that U-turn. They've been making that U-turn hell for him, and he finally has some defensive driving there around it and blocks Keela out of it. But he's got another U-turn that he's been struggling with dealing with here. And Keela, ooh, really trying to lock in. Maddie's swerving all of the road. We got another downslope turn. Will he hold on? Keela on the pass. U-turn up ahead. It's not done yet.
And if Powerade gonna get the repo at the last lap, then I don't know.
Well, speaking of repos, we just saw Keela get bullied into a repo by Maddie, and Maddie snatches up the podium. And not only that, but he sends Keela Barris into a duel with Makakowski. We've got our final lap here, and the observer, Jeromu, by the way, shout out to Jeromu
Whoa,
for that.
whoa.
But Nick has lost his speed. A big turn. Powerade trying to take the inside. He's not going to be able to do so. And Nick, despite a very precarious situation, is going to hold on to that first place. Maddie in third. Makakowski passed up Keela Barras and sent Keela into fifth. Keela was looking at least a third place finish, but he gets relegated back to fifth by the end of it. Ertzu lost one more position. I think that position was lost to Frostbitten. Actually, Frostbitten found two positions by the end of that race. Frostbitten is just a bulletproof racer. The guy can be stuck in ninth, 10th for most of the race, but he passes up Laggy, he passes up Ertzu, he passes up B, and he somehow finds 7th and picks up the pieces.
And I have to say, Nick looks so strong, really. From the first lap, first place, keeping it until the end. Powerade finally not choking at the last lap with the repo.
Well, yeah. Powerade not, but Nick. I mean, they finished 100 milliseconds between each other, despite the lead that Nick held on to until that last turn. So, holy shit.
But Matty showing up, Kilabaros with a really great fighting spirit. He was put in a lot of fights on those turns while fighting for the top 3, but unfortunately didn't end up as he would like with that repo on the last lap, I think.
Yeah.
So
and Ama as well. Ama finishing out in 6th. Definitely not the position he wanted after a strong second place there on our first track. B is one of the people who I predicted as being very adaptable. He's been quiet in these races so far. Ertzu not able to make it happen with the Camara TC, but we talked about this. Though he got his 2 very bad tracks for the Camara out of the way, and hopefully going to be more smooth sailing for him as we move into the second, third, and third of our race today. First third is done. Tracks 2 of 6 both been completed, and we're headed into a much more technical track for RV Simo. But we do have scores, right?
In a moment, but we are also now jumping into the longest lap race because RV Simo on a road track is 27 laps. So we'll see how this track. Wait. I'm just telling
yes,
Nick where was the mistake because he put Frost as a second and he was third, and Ama was second.
Yeah, we've got a ton of support in the chat for our Latino America racers. We've got BGM, We've got Tom Dom, Makakowski, and also, Powerade are honorary American, often in the RVA races over in the Americas time zone. So yeah, shout out to Latino America representation. We've got Makakowski making some moves, especially there on Green Haze Valley. B, Tom Dom not able to make it work in the same capacity, but Makakowski is putting in work. We'll see if it, for example, if Tom Dom or B are able to rewrite the way this story is going right now for them. But we are headed to that RV Simo on-road track, very technical track.
Okay, just gonna update real fast the tables, and we're gonna jump to the next race. And actually, win in today's session would be really important for Nick because he would jump a lot in the overall standings because he stands only on 16 points after the 3 sessions. So getting that sweet 25 points for winning a session will be really huge for him here.
Right.
But so far, Nick first, Powered second, Ama third, Frost fourth. So still, maybe I will get my sweet top 3 prediction. We'll see how Frost will do in the next track.
Okay, and away we go. And it is going to be a cluster out here to begin us off. It's no surprise, and there are going to be winners and losers, and it's not always going to happen based on strategy. Sometimes you just get pushed in situations like this, and there's not a whole lot you can do. But regardless, we've got our front three, Makakowski, Powerade, and Ertzu on that Chimera TC. We predicted here on a technical track such as this, turn after turn after turn after turn, Ertzu are going to be heavily favored in the Chimera TC. EXCTC an all-arounder though, so they can definitely make it happen, but we see Ertzu getting that edge over Powerade, and now he's hunting down Makakowski. Now we do have one slight top speed section, which is right here, so that battle is not going to be over yet, but meanwhile, midfield is right behind the podium. We've got Nick, we've got B, Keela, Ama, Frost, Laggy Rock, Maddie, they're all caught up in this. Tom Dom is the only player who is struggling to find a little bit more, and it is what it is, but still got a lot of enemy mistakes to capture off of, or to capitalize off of. And we've got still out in the front three, Ertzu holding steady to second, Powerade still in third, Nick, who has been driving super strong, is currently in fourth, which is great for him. Because like we mentioned, that start can be catastrophic. You can really get caught up at the very beginning there.
That was a nice section by Powerade on those turns, fighting for the third place. Here's the second, Makakowski first, out of nowhere kinda.
Yeah, chat is definitely going to be popping off at this one. It is Makakowski, not just first, but a strong first. That being said, you can see that just the distinct advantage that Ertzu has. Of course, I think it is in his lines a bit, but also that Chimera TC just so well equipped for this track.
Huge fight for the first place.
Look at him. I mean, Makakowski is being fed to the wolves here. There's nothing that he can do to contest that super aggressive, super tight driving by Ertzu. And Ertzu just does find the clean pass, and he's going to take it. Makakowski, of course, he wants that first place. Duh, so does everyone else in the lobby. But he's definitely going to be happy to just let Ertzu pass, no major wreck, and continue on his way. Sure, fight with him. If Ertzu messes up, he can grab first. But for the moment, just hold on to second. Hold on to that gap over Powerade. He's got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah,
oh,
the fight is just intense between those two players.
Yeah.
But for
Makakowski not doing what I was talking about. You go ahead though.
Yeah, but for Ertzu winning that race would be really good for that session today. He's currently in the bottom 2 with the points.
Yeah. And that's the decision with the Chimera. We've said it a number of times, but again, those first 2 tracks not super good for him. So obviously here on this track, especially RV Simo, this is the #1 track that he wants to come out on a dub with. I think even if he comes in second, that's going to be considered a disappointment for Ertzu here on this track because he's just so well equipped to do it. So he's only going to be aiming for the gold 100%. Whereas Makakowski in that much more balanced car, I think he'll be all right with the second place. But if we could check back a little bit further backfield while this is going on, just for a second, just for like 10 seconds, and we're straight back to front. But I think Powerade would be good to see how he's doing. He's 30 meters behind. Nick is 25 meters behind. He's being challenged by B somewhat. Kila Baris, Frost in 7th. Another slow start for Frost. Amma fighting with him again. And then Laggy Rock and Maddie. So actually, Tom Dom, unless Tom Dom, did he DC? We had some people getting red X's in the previous division. So if that happened for Tom Dom, he might have just gone to spectator. So not quite sure on that. But regardless, Makakowski still challenging Ertzu, but you can see Ertzu pulling away ever so slightly.
It feels like there's going to be a safe distance between all of the players, and it's all about us do mistakes on the turns by now. For a long time we had a really nice fight between Makakowski and Erzu there, though.
And I do want to respond to Joe Blueberry. Do all tracks in this tournament look like real tracks? This is the circuit session for today, and so these tracks do resemble real life tracks. But every single week we have different sessions and different tracks. So definitely not all of them going to look like that, but all the tracks for today will. So headed back into our coverage, we still have Ertzu 15 meters, 20 meters lead over Makakowski, which he's going to be quite content with, as they do only have 10 laps remaining. And you can see that best lap time under 20 seconds for our racers. So these laps are going to fly by. Frost still in 7th. Amma still in 8th. He's fallen out of the battle with Frost. And in fact, Laggy and Maddie might be able to catch. They are fighting pretty aggressively there. Ertzu scaring me. Makakowski scaring me too. But they both emerge out of those turns unscathed.
And Erzu leading the way. He needs that because in all the previous sessions he was not doing really that great, so maybe that would be a boost for his confidence here. All of those players can race, they're capable of winning any session here.
Exactly. And this shows that two of our underdogs, as far as overall session results, Ertzu and Makakowski, are the ones in 1st and 2nd here on RV Simo. Now we do have Powerade in 3rd, and the race so far has been pretty stagnant. In other divisions, we have seen this race be an explosion of fireworks. But the thing is, these racers are just very calculated. They're not overturning. They're not trying to cut too far. And now I might have took it a little too early, but B recovers. So yeah. Just continuing on, no major mistakes being made. And so it does look like a little stagnant, but you can see the individual changes in distance that are being made apparent. Amma has escaped. He's kind of on a bit of his own island. We've got Ertzu in 40 meters in front of Makakowski. He is chilling super hard.
You know what? Imagine that track with peaks on, like oils and rockets everywhere.
Right?
Flying. The track is just so small. It would be like so much chaos here. Literally just no racing.
It would be awful. Yeah, the cars would be spinning on every single turn. The shockwaves would be ridiculous as well at some of these points. If you can manage to get it to rebound.
I mean, come on, that would be like Carmageddon basically. But Erzu with a healthy, healthy lead here. It seems on this track at least.
Yeah, we're finishing it out. There's really not much to say. Unless Ertzu just messes up, then, I mean, it's going to be pretty simple, straightforward finish for Ertzu. He's got 2 laps left to go. Let's go back a bit. Yes, indeed. Now, this is a good spot to stay at. I'd like to stay around the 2nd to 4th position because we've got a close battle between Powerade and Nick. And also, Makakowski has let his guard down, and Powerade and Nick can potentially find passes here. They've got about a lap and a half left and just 2 more turns until they start the final lap. And Nick is right up in Power8's business here. So this is definitely the race to watch. Will Power8 be able to keep it on? As some really good lines from Nick. But Power8, tries to do on the inside. Can't find anything. Gonna
Oh,
keep trying. And the bump is going to be all she wrote.
and Power8 wants to maintain that one place advantage ahead of Nick to come closer to him in the overall standings for today's session.
Don't worry, no jinx. Don't worry. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you all here. We've got a number of new followers today. We got 3 of y'all. I won't embarrass y'all by saying your names. I know some people, prefer to just lurk, but thank y'all for the follows. Y'all are glad y'all are enjoying, and we've got our instant replays up as well. Ertzu in that early fight with Power8, and then trying to take down Makakowski as well. And we wondered, would he be able to pass Makakowski? Once he made it happen, though, Makakowski took it back briefly, but then it was all Ertzu. Now, we did have some other tight races further midfield. For example, Power8 and Nick.
Yeah.
But pretty straightforward race, considering that is pretty much our most technically demanding track here. I mean, it's just left, right, insane turns, trying to get an edge wherever you can. There was that retake by Makakowski, and Ertzu trying to snag it back. Now, eventually he did, but Makakowski putting in a very valiant effort at trying to take that first place.
I have to say that Lagrock is actually pretty silent in today's session. Maybe it's not his best today. I still remember his extremely dominant performance in the Playday 2. But Nick finally, maybe it's his time right now. Maintains a high position. He finished 4th, if I recall correctly. Power8 was 3rd. So he still should have a healthy amount of points ahead of Power8 in that first place. We're gonna see the tables really soon before we jump to the next race, which will be, by the way, our 4th race. So we only have, we have 3 tracks left.
Halfway
This
through.
is gonna be K-Tunes. Wait, 21 laps ahead of us.
Indeed, and if you've seen some circuit races, which we do have some newcomers, which is always good to see, but I know we've got a lot of people who are very familiar with circuit tracks as well, and you're definitely going to recognize K-Tune Speedway if that's the case. Now, we are looking at those live standings. We see Nick still in the lead.
Yeah, and look at Ama Erzu. Equal, Frost really close, Kilabars with 32. I mean, could be tight today. It could be really tight. Power8 only 6 points ahead of Makakowski. Makakowski only 5 points ahead of Ama Erzu. Nick still with a healthy lead over all the packs, but it's getting really stacked.
Yeah, and I mean, when you asked me my predictions, you might remember my first brain choice was Frostbitten without even really thinking about it. He's sitting in 6th place right now.
Yes.
So that go ahead and tells you how stacked the lobby is straight away. And in fact, he doesn't have a dominant lead over people like Keela and Maddie as well. They're only 2 and 4 points away from him, respectively. So yeah, we got a bit of a switch up in the works. Maybe we're gonna have to have some new predictions as we head into our next sessions, because Nick is completely dominating. He's starting to break away points wise. He didn't have a first place, but he had another strong top 4 finish here on RV Simo. Power8 has been surprising. I'm not too surprised, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
We're ready.
Yes.
Why are we not
We're
starting?
ready.
We're ready. Don't wait for us. Just go. Let's go.
Okay. I'll say ready.
We're ready. Because we're just
We're
talking
ready.
because we're waiting for you to start, and they're not starting because
no,
we're talking. Come on.
I had things to say. Let's go, Nick.
Let's
So we
go.
do have K-Tune Speedway headed straight in. We're gonna have that clean feed up soon to show y'all. Yes, and I won't spoil anything, but here we go, starting right away.
Oh, that
Good. Oh, I like that camera angle, but we do, yeah, it's going to be another bonkers beginning section uh, for us here, especially after this turn. A very big brake turn. Thought we might potentially see people flying off the track, but fortunately, everyone with some very respectful driving, despite how congested this scene is. Frost is trying to sneak in a position or two, but he is going to run into the wall and lose some speed and get knocked back to eighth. TT mentioning Ashton made a statement with Chimera here on K-Tune. I am very interested to see if Air2 will be able to do the same, but we did just curse him. And Maddie with the kiss from above right on Air2's car and making him spin out. I'm not sure exactly who that was, but
that skin
somebody.
from Nick. I just checked it. It's a police. I mean, come on, that skin is just insane.
Is it? I didn't even realize that at first.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
The
just saw it.
police. The police. Wow, I didn't even notice he's driving a police car skin. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nick driving in support of the police, a very questionable statement. Regardless, we are continue headed on, and despite representing the police, he is in first by 20 meters.
that was actually a nice camera of like overview of the track.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
It'll be actually nice to have a camera which is just basically on top of the entire track when you just see, like top to bottom. I know how to, like from the
Yes, I
bird
know
view.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, some new camera angles would be so sick. And the devs of this game that still play this game and work on it, of course, a new dev team that's taken over. Ertsu passing Ama, by the way, in the meantime. Sorry to get a little sidetracked, but it's hard not to get excited when there's devs who are still improving such a beloved but dated game and keeping it updated for the modern era. It's crazy to see. One of those such people is B, who is racing right now. We got the camera on him. Seventh through fifth is the field. Actually, it looks like fifth through eighth or ninth is the current midfield. Makakowski has not been able to replicate the same success he found on RV Simo. He's currently sitting in ninth place. In the meantime, flipping back, yes, we've got Keela struggling to find anything. Frost has moved up a number of positions up into about fifth place.
What happened to
B
be there?
getting really that might have been some movement from Maddie. Hard to say what exactly happened right there, but headed back to the front. Ertsu in third. We said Ashen made a statement on K-Tune. Is third place enough of a statement? I think not. He did find first place in RV Simo, but he struggled as we projected on the first two tracks. And so he's going to need to come up big here, especially because I don't think LS Tama Valley Route B or Jimson Weeds are going to be particularly kind to him. They'll be fine. I think they'll be decent. They'll be fine, but it's not going to give him an edge like something like this track might.
But again, Powerade and Nick in the top two. Nick with the lead. I have to also like mention Tom Dom because he's really having a really hard time in that session. So don't give up, man. Just keep grinding, keep racing. Gonna get better.
Cheers to the chat. Glad y'all are enjoying, and we've got a number of people cheering for their favorites, giving them their energy. We see you. Air2, in the meantime, trying to find some pressure onto Power 8. And he's been applying it this whole time. That's not how he's going to be aiming to do it, though. And it's right into this top speed section that's also not very good for his car either. And Power 8 is going to break away, but Power 8 is kind of taking that risky. I didn't notice that until right now. If he's actually intentionally taking it like that, that seems like a very risky way to take it. What do I know? Obviously, Power 8 has been putting in work. I think he's second place in our overall standings right now, so clearly he knows the routes. But in the meantime, a battle for fifth. Frost has been moving up. I've said it once, I'll say it again. The guy is bulletproof. It doesn't matter where he is early on in the race, he will manage to find some positions, and he's aiming to do so against Keela Barris here, who has been more middle of the field so far in this session, but has been consistent, has had no drop off performances. So Keela is definitely still aiming for a top finish, and fifth place would be a decent way to set him up for these last two tracks.
I have to say something about Kilabars because in my eyes he is rising as a really exciting player to watch in those races.
Yes.
I mean, there are mistakes here and there, but he's always just risking, taking the risk, driving really, really aggressively. I like it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I agree with you absolutely. We see in the meantime B and Makakowski getting into a bit of a tussle of their own. Nothing too major happening there. But the both racers from Chile giving each other a little bit of a ribbing there. We meantime got Ama versus Powerade. So Ama has mostly fallen out. Actually, no, wasn't it Powerade who was in third? So this was a pass by Ama, if I remember correctly. This was actually a pass into third place by Alma. Correct me if I'm wrong there, chat. But I did think it was Powerade versus Airtsu there. We've got Kila holding on to fifth. You can see it down there in the bottom left.
Powerade. Ama.
Chileans going too wide. Yeah.
So who's second though? Nick is still in the lead, right? Is there Ersu maybe? Yeah, it's Ersu.
Look at that duel, though. The over under. Alma's going to hold on to it just barely with some defensive blocking there in the top speed section. He's going to hold on to third, but this is not an ideal section for him. He is going to have to let Powerade by because he could have just got blasted from the back if he didn't. So it is just a little swerve scenario for him. He's got to let Powerade by. I don't know if it was 100% necessary. He could have just risked it, but he is just going to hold on to the situation rather than trying to just blow up the spot. So it is Nick, 30 meters in the lead against Ertu. I said Ertu wouldn't be happy with third, but he's got to be pretty happy with second. It's a difference of 16 points versus 20 points. So you can see, especially in that podium position, how much these individual positions matter. So he does manage to get one. We'll see if he's able to catch Nick. Nick has been looking super solid, but of course it could get turned around. We're here on lap 17 to 21. Powerade dueling with Ama for third.
And the win in this race would actually be huge for Nick because he would maintain even a higher advantage over the Powerade, which would mean that Nick would be actually really, really close into winning that session.
Yes. And the thing is, when you're in that position, the nerves settle a little bit and you're just going to race better when you don't have, when you're not like, oh my God, if I make one mistake, I could potentially lose this entire thing. So he does have a little bit of the pressure off, which I think could work well for Nick. Now, in the meantime, you know who's not relaxing is Powerade, and Ama is not either because they are still locked and loaded for this third place battle. It does look like Powerade has taken third from Ama. At least I know that there was a recent point where Ama was ahead of Powerade. We might have captured the overtake, but regardless, this has been a back and forth between the two of them. Nothing has been set in stone. Yes, it was Ama veered off to the left to let Powerade pass. Indeed, we saw that, and Powerade has been able to hold on since that pass. He's been able to hold on to third. Keela nearby, but guess what? Keela has been managed to shake off Frost. Ama too tight on the turn, and now we've got a sandwich of Powerade, Ama, and Keela, where Keela might even be able to pass Ama at this point. We are headed into lap 21 of 21, so pressure is going to be high, but unless mistakes come out, these positions are looking pretty settled. Ama versus Keela, something could happen there. We're not sure how far Frost is back, but I'm pretty sure it's far enough. And yeah, it looks like Ertsu's second. Nick with an 80, 90 meter lead is just going to finish out first really easily.
Extremely dominant by Nick, I have to say. So far, extremely clean races, confident leading, cross six.
Absolutely. Okay, and Maddie not able to find too much success in that eight, and Makakowski not able to find too much in seventh either. So two racers that did have those shimmers of hope earlier on in our races, not able to replicate those same results, and we see exactly like you said, Nick continuing to move up. Ertsu starting to make a statement. We'll see how much recovery work he's able to put in. on the final 2 tracks with that Chimera, and Power8 trying to hold on to second overall.
Yeah, Nick, Ersu, Power8. Out of the top 3, Nick getting stronger in that first position. Great race by him. Only 2 races left. So the next one gonna be LS Tama Wale Route P, 18 laps. So we're gonna have longer tracks but shorter number of wait, I lost shorter.
Yeah, short
So,
number of laps.
yeah.
Absolutely. I'm
Uh,
sorry, I'm looking at these instant replays because there's some absolute mahim that was happening earlier on in this race. But yeah,
P
it ended up
flying.
smoothing out by the end of it. B just, I don't even know what happened there, even watching it back the second time. And we had this nice battle between Keela and Frost. Keela finding the edge, and I think he just rode it the entire way on those last 10 laps and finished out ahead of Frost. He definitely finished out ahead of Frost. I don't think it was exchanged between the two of them after that. Oh, yeah, and the battle between Power and Ama as well. This was neck and neck. And in fact, it would have been pretty detrimental for Power8 to come into fourth. So we'll have to see the overall standings. But yeah, I think it was pretty crucial for Power8 to find third there.
Okay, I
And
got
we are
info.
headed straight in.
Okay, so if players can start, we're just gonna check the table really fast. Okay, the track is
Yeah,
already
yeah.
loading, so we're just gonna see and look at that lead from Nick.
Ertsu
Powerlights,
moving up.
Makakowski close to Ama. So people are fighting for that top 3. Nick in a really strong lead. Let's go to the next track. 5th track of the
So
day.
I'd say Power8 is going to be one to watch, absolutely. And we've also got Ertsu in that Chimera. Is he going to make it work? There is a huge red X that will destroy your race if you hit it. There's also this very narrow section, which is tough to navigate. Nick falling out completely in that section, gets caught up on the outside corner, outside edge, and just can't find anything else out of it. Ama going for a technique that many people did not go for in Division 2 and 3, and actually he was in the chat asking why that was the case. And right now he's proving why that wall bang is so effective. Now Makakowski almost triggering a repo. We've got Frost in last place here. I'll try to cover it better next lap, but I'll let you all know exactly where this red X is. And if you hit this red X, you are good as toast. So we've got Nick trying to find some positions out in 7th. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not super good for him. Power8 in the meantime. And here's that section. And now if you tip over the corner right there, right where Maddie was, you're going to get a massive red X that you have to manually repo for. And once you repo, it's going to set you way back. So it's about a 50, 75 meter loss minimum if you take that corner the wrong way. They're going to have to be very cognizant of that on every single one of those turns because it will catch you once and it will kill you. Nick, in the meantime, moving up more positions. He's in 6th for the moment. We've got some interesting wall bangs going out. B almost losing control. He's going to regain it. B has been so quiet in these races after we predicted him to be in the top. Ertsu, though, is the spotlight. The spotlight on Ertsu out in first place. Rough beginnings on the first 2 tracks, but if he can find a first on LS Tama, he could win. I wouldn't necessarily say win, but he'll definitely be ahead of Power8, even with Power8 having a great performance here. And indeed, it is first, second between Ertsu and Power8. So things are really building up here. And guess what? If Nick continues to fall down or he can't find the positions that he needs, I mean, Nick's position not quite set in stone yet. We can do the exact math when we head into the final track. But oh my, what a pass by Power8 onto Ertsu that was. We'll see if Ertsu's able to take it back.
Honestly, if Power8 wins this,
There's a repo. And first place to 7th place in
and
the
Nick
blink of an
ahead,
eye.
and Nick ahead of Power8.
Exactly. Nick being ahead is so bad. for Air2 and for Powerade. They want Nick to fall way down because that's the only way they're going to be able to take this first place is if Nick chokes. And guess what? Choking is the last thing on his mind right now as he takes a beautiful pass on Ama to head into lap 7 of 18. Air2 sitting on that first place for now, but Ama and Nick, now Ama does take it back. Beautiful racing from both of them. A major back and forth.
I have to shout out to Jeromo. I mean, he's making the camera operation so exciting to watch. I mean, it's such a refreshing thing to see.
Jeromo is absolutely killing it. But in the meantime, okay, Nick trying to find the pass, but Ama with some very clever lines, and he's going to go for the wall bang and shoot himself out like a cannon through that grass. Now, this track is an exception as far as the grass goes. You can drive on it pretty well, especially in that section. So Ama going to take full advantage of that, and that is not one of the unintended cut scenarios that we were talking about because that is just an allowed part of the track. So Air2 is in first, but okay, Ama loses 2 in the blink of an eye, just like that. Kilobaris and Nick both find passes on him. He is going to go for that wall ride on the outside, takes 1 position back from Kila halfway through the track. And this is our spiciest track yet by far.
Yes, a lot of fighting, I feel like the first race was also a lot of fighting. Now this one.
Yes. For those of you keeping up with that overall standings, you're going to keep in mind, where is Powerade, right? Well, Powerade is in 5th. He's not too far back at this grouping. He could still potentially find a lot of positions, a good amount of positions, as Ama continues to take that unique routing. Kila almost too far on the inside. Isn't going to get a red X. We're good to go. Yeah, and that is... I forget who that is in second right now, but we've got Ertsu in the lead. Makakowski not able to find too much happening. This is one of Laggy Rock's better races, but he's only out there in 6th. It's not particularly good. Frost coming up with absolutely zilch. Nothing. 0. He gets nothing. And, I mean, maybe a point or two, but this is just a disaster for Frost. And, in fact, we had someone else having a disaster. B is also just not having a good session. And Nick in second, he's holding Ertsu accountable as Ertsu has these minor errors that he's able to recover from, but Nick making no such errors. And this is a good spot for Ertsu right here. But then a top speed section for Nick will mean he's right back on top of him.
Such a nice fight again.
Beautiful block. Wow.
Well, they still got a couple of laps to work on this.
Yes.
Nick not giving up. He's still tailing Ersu.
Okay, on the inside. The amount of times we've seen just a smooth pass like that today has been monumental. Going for more turns. Camara getting the edge through here for sure. Ertsu rocketing. He even finds a pass on Nick. Not just closing the gap, but even finding the pass for now. And with some blocking, he's making it look convincing.
And this is just crazy what they're doing.
The two of them, yes, go ahead.
And imagine a Skillabarus coming and snapping the first out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, Kilobaris could sneak up. We've got Ama. Ama just got passed by Kilobaris, so there's something going on in third, fourth, but it's hard to look away from this first, second. Nick grabbing that first right out from Ertsu's nose. Ertsu was looking dominating, but Nick just finding gap after gap, and there is the battle between Kila, Powerade, and Ama. Ama lost 2 positions. Powerade moves up 2 positions. Out of nowhere, Powerade is still in the mix here. We wondered. We said, is he going to fall off? Where's Powerade? Well, he's right there. A podium finish would be great for him to solidify second place. Maybe even look for more, but the pressure getting to him is definitely not a lockdown third place. As you can see, Kila and Ama won it just as bad. And in fact, if Ertsu or Nick made a single mistake out of carelessness, it would be a pass by 1. if not 2, if not all 3. So there is actually a lot of pressure that they might not be expecting, and it's all right here. Keela loses 2 positions in the blink of an eye. Ama on the outside with that unique wall ride. He's able to keep in the middle of this sandwich.
I mean, if
Oh,
Powerade, Ursu, and Nick finish in top 3, it's going to be quite exciting to see the last race.
yeah. I mean, there's no way to tell how these points are going to shake up by the end of it, especially with how consistently well all 5 of these racers have been doing. It could shake out any sort of way based on the way these last 2 races or last 2 laps go, followed by Jimson Weed's raceway to finish us out. We are here on lap 17 of 18. Keela so close, scaring me once again. There have been no red exits to speak of. That's been an absolute nightmare for racers in Division 2 and 3. But it is staying steady for them. Nothing major to speak of. Nick has broken away. Nick looking for another clean first place. And it actually might be Powerade who can find second. Ertsu has fallen off the map here comparatively based on how this is going. B has passed up Makakowski, but that's way, way off in the sidelines. We've got lap 18 of 18 here, and second place is up for contention.
I mean, Ertsu has to defend that position if he wants to fight for the second place in that session.
Nick!
What happened?
Whoa, Nick has just completely lost everything. He loses 4 positions by wrecking in the narrow section. Ertsu might find first. Powerade might find first. It's on the turn, and Powerade breaks away. He finishes out in first out of nowhere. Keela passes up Nick as well. Nick is going to be so incredibly tilted from that. He wrecked on air. Nobody anywhere near him. All he had to do was take it slow and be chill, and he just couldn't relax and lock it down. He loses a number of positions. A lot of mental focus is going to be cut from that situation. And oh my, he's got his work cut out for him. I mean, don't get me wrong, a good bank of points already accumulated for him leading up to this race. 4th place will not be make or break for him, I don't think. But that really changed the landscape of what's going on. Powerade getting 25 points.
This is actually the worst thing that could have happened for Nick. Powerade winning and him 4th, because now it's going to be extremely tight for the last race. And I would be so sad to see, because Powerade, he's as consistent as Nick in this session, but man, having such a good session as Nick and then losing that on the last race, that would be devastating. I mean, I don't want to see that. I don't want to jinx anything. But goddamn.
It's definitely a devastating situation for Nick, but this actually isn't the first time that this has happened. We had a similar situation happen in Division 2, if I remember correctly, where one person won like 3 races, and then they just blew up here on LS Tama Valley, I think it was, and then they couldn't recover on Jimson Weeds. And so we have had a similar situation. Well, I'm really curious to see what the current point standing is for our race here as we head into the final track on Jimson Weeds Raceway, so we can really analyze where are the breakage points and what's going to go on. Yeah, so if we could get those points, yeah.
We're gonna see it in a moment. I can already see how it looks like, and it's not as exciting as you would actually expect, but it still is kind of exciting. It's still ups for grabs. Ups for grabs for Powerade or Nick. But let's see. Let's wait for those instant replays to finish. Unfortunately, Tom Dom and Lagrock are at the bottom. BGM also, Matty. Not having the best session. Still, again, mentioning Tom Dom. You know, like sometimes you have just a bad day, maybe, or it just the session.
Or it's just not your track. Maybe, some people love circuits. Some people don't care too much about circuits.
Yeah. So we are ready already for the last track, but meanwhile we're just gonna check the live standings, and Nick 101 points, only 11 ahead of Powerade. Erzu lurking 12 points behind Powerade. So still, those 3 guys, it's all about them, kinda.
Indeed. Ama Makakowski going to be something to keep in mind, but it's really going to be all about Jimson Weeds here. I think Nick has an 11-point advantage over Powerade, which is nice and comfy because if Powerade gets first and Nick gets second, or Nick gets third, then that's only 9 points. So he's going to have to come in like fourth and Powerade in first. So the exact same situation as what happened on LS Tama Valley. But as we have already hopped into the race, and believe it or not, there's only 16 laps on this track, but we're already almost on lap 2. So this race has been flying by. Tensions as high as they are, it makes sense. A tight grouping of 4 cars as being watched from B as they head into one of the first major turns. Ertzu in that Camaro TC, keeping it locked down, and I question how much of an edge Ertzu would be able to find with it, if anything. I thought it would actually be a slight detriment to be driving on the Camaro, but he's making it work so far. Now the Powerade pass, Nick pass, it's been back and forth, but we can see those top speed sections, Ertzu losing out just a bit. I also, while we have a second, I want to give a quick shout out to our viewers. We've got some new viewers in here, and we've got some people giving explanations to them. Shout out. I'm so glad that y'all are enjoying, and keep it locked in because this is our last track of the day. Current leading podium is Powerade, Nick, Ertzu. I think that's the order there. And then we've also got Kila keeping it strong in the mix.
Yes, I mean, how rare it is where you actually see the top 3 of overall standings actually fighting for a top 3 in the last race as well, but Erzu kind of dropping while I was saying that.
Yes, Ertzu dropping out a bit. And Ama 62, Makakowski 61, Kilabars 59. So as far as midfield goes, the battle is far from done yet. But we are going to have to keep in mind, if Nick finds even like second or third place, it's basically a lockdown first overall for him, which is looking like the situation, at least for the moment. Now, the important part is not what is Nick's position. That's not the important part. The important part is how close are the people behind Nick if he messed up? And the answer to that is they are actually very close. 6 meters from Makakowski, another 6 meters, and you've got Kila Barras. And who's to say who is on Kila Barras' fender right this very moment? So while it looks like, oh yeah, Nick second, Powerade first, that's the way it's been going. But once these tensions start building up, there's B. We've got another person that could potentially snag some positions from Nick if he had a wreck. There's Ertzu out in 7th. So this is far from over. Keep in mind, Ama, Makakowski, and Kilabaris all fighting for positions as well. So I think that's Kilabaris who is winning that situation. Actually, it might be Makakowski. Don't want to give you all too much to keep track of all at one time because you might get overloaded a bit. But we do see Kilabaris falling back a position or 2. He's now locked in with Ama and Frost.
Yes, I mean, Erzu kind of falling from that top 3 fight. He would need to actually win that race to have a shot at improving his position in the overall standings. But Nick and Powerade just occupying the top 2. Pretty comfortable, I would say.
Oh, this
Right
group
now.
is still going strong. There's a group of sharks that smell some blood. Is it Nick's or is it someone else's? We will see. But if it is Nick's, oh, Maddie getting caught up. And fortunately for B, B didn't also get implicated in that. He did lose just a minor amount of speed. Ertzu in 5th, moving up 1 position, I do believe. And there's Makakowski. So if Makakowski can finish out in 3rd, he is actually going to move up ahead of Ama. So an important thing to note. But like we said, our main race is battle between Powerade and Nick. Powerade desperately needs Nick to make a mistake, and a catastrophic one at that, because a 2nd place finish for Nick and a 1st for Powerade ain't going to cut it.
Yes, exactly. And remember, the gap between the 2 places is 11 points. So really, if Powerade wants to win that session, he needs to count on a huge mistake from Nick. I think like falling into 5th or 6th place at least.
Exactly. 4th would be the closest we could hope for. 3rd definitely won't cut it. And Nick is really challenging Powerade. And if you look, we've got this section up here where people are prone to make mistakes. But you can see after this section, it's pretty straightforward. This EXETC, it's got great control, great handling. It's very well equipped to handle sections like this that we're watching right now. And so I don't know if we'll see anything catastrophic like we did there on LS Tama Valley Route B during that narrow section. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think we can take the camera off of these two for the moment because ultimately it doesn't matter too much. We are going to need to see a big mistake out of Nick, and we've got 7 laps to go to see if that happens. So we've got Makikoski, Ama, and B for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and Frost has moved up there into 6th. Keela has fallen out, so that is going to be Ama holding on. Now with Makikoski 3rd, he might be able to pass up Ama
But
in the
Ersu,
standings, even if Ama.
but
Yes,
Ersu,
Ersu. Whoa, you're right.
he needs to defend his position because if Ama finished third, he can overtake him in the overall position because
Or
Ersu
yeah,
is only ahead. Wait, he's not only ahead. He's ahead 16 points, so that's a lot actually.
it is a lot, but keep in mind. So 3rd place will get you 16. So it needs to be better. Makikoski or Ama needs to find like 2nd place. But if they can do it, they could even pass up Ertzu. Now keep in mind, Ertzu is doing quite well here. He's moved back up over Frost. Now Nick has fallen out of the battle with Powerade. He's 25 meters behind Powerade at this point. And there are 2 people who are keeping the pressure on him. I couldn't quite see. I think one of them was Makikoski. I'm not sure who the other one was. But Keela in 9th place. We've got 5 laps left to go. So tension's definitely rising. Let's get up there towards the 3rd, 4th place battle, if we can. And once again, quick shout out to Nick, the host, and filling in the leaderboard, and Jeromu with the observer position. Thank y'all so much.
And Nick has to be kind of careful. I feel like he lost kind of the touch with Powerade, and now he's just trying to finish in the top 3 because he knows he cannot risk it by now. He just needs to finish in the top to maintain his position in the overall standings.
Yeah, Nick's definitely got to be feeling pressure here because Powerade's first is all but shut down here. He's got such a big lead. So if Nick did something really, really bad, there's a pretty good chance that Makikoski could pass, maybe even Ama. And if that happens, we could see a switch up in those first place positions. And like we said, Makikoski versus Ama is also a battle in session. It's not just a battle for first. We've also got the battle for 4th, 5th between Ama and Makikoski, a difference of 1 point. So if Makikoski finishes ahead of Ama, he beats him and he moves up. If Ama finishes ahead of Makikoski, then he's going to hold on to 3rd. It's that or on to 4th, I believe. It's that simple. We've also got to keep track, like we said, on how far Ertzu is going, but he was a ways back. And our time is really winding down. I'm getting a little bit frantic here, trying to cover everything. But we've got lap 14 of 16, which is winding down now. Crazy camera angle there. Ertzu in 7th. So it's going to be enough points for him, more than likely. But the question is, will anybody be able to find a pass on Nick? That's really what it's coming down to. Anybody passing Nick or Ama passing Makikoski, the 2 main things we're looking out for, and we can look out for both of them at the same damn time. So we've got our pretty much locked down what we're going to be looking at here for our last bit of lap 15, headed into lap 16. And yeah, another cool little camera angle there. I like that, Jeromu. And headed in pretty much smooth sailing to our final laps here. Final lap, I should say, singular, as Makikoski is keeping Nick close. He had 20 meters. We'll see how this turn goes. Nick, okay, getting close to the edge, but he's not going to connect, which is obviously a very good thing for Nick. Easiest spin out there if you are colliding with the wall. And he's not going to get any kind of repo there. That's been rare to see. Haven't seen it too much. Big U-turn, looking clean. And what do you think, Gautier? I think he's got this locked down.
Yeah, I mean, let's not jinx it. We know what happened to Powerade twice, I think. With a repo. But yeah, he finishes
It
Nick.
is going to be Nick, and it's going to be Makakowski in third as well.
And Nick, our winner of today's session, securing the first position.
Whoa! Sorry about that. Maddie's not going to be too happy about that finish there. Kilabar says, nice, Air 2 in all caps. Okay. Sorry to interrupt there, but
And
that was quite the little silly situation.
Dum for a change, not finishing the last. So, small improvement there.
Ah, there we go.
So, what we already can say, huge congratulations to Nick for winning today's session, because we already know he just needed to defend his position. Great racing from him. Also Powerade, I mean the consistency, the fighting spirit. He had to win the last race, he won it. He just needed to count for a mistake from Nick. So he did everything he could in his power to actually fight for that first position. So I have to say, great racing from all the players here. Erzu also falling a little bit behind in the last race. He still had a mathematical chance for that second place at least, because the first one, yes, I don't think he would have a chance, but the second place he could fight for it, but Powerade also just too strong, too consistent in today's race. And really shortly we're gonna have a live table waiting for confirmation from Nick. Nick probably already popping up the champagne, getting the drinks he deserves. He's like, whew, okay, okay, guys.
You can relax. I mean, it was as scary as we say. Oh yeah, he had to come in like fourth there on the final lap or on the final track, but he came in fourth on LS Tama Valley. So it was like, oh yeah, it probably won't happen again, but I mean, it could happen again. So there is our final standings. Yeah, just Nick, Powerade, Air 2, Makakowski passed up Ama there for fourth. Aquila couldn't do too much, but he did defend sixth against Frost, who wasn't able to find too much. BGM came up pretty cold as well. Maddie with some early strong starts, but he wasn't able to wholly lock it down. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, let's look again on the settings. Our top 3 predictions. I said Nick, Powerade, and Frostbitten. 2 out of 3. I said that Frost would win everything, but Nick surprised everyone. And also with Powerade, my heart was in the right place today, Powerade. I didn't forget about you, so... What about yours?
Yeah, and actually, you'll remember, Makakowski was my number 1 heart pick, and he got fourth. So I know he's been a bit of an underdog, but he showed up here. Shout out to Makakowski. BGM was one of my picks, not really coming through as strongly, but I also had Nick in there, and I really felt bad that I didn't give a shout out to Powerade as well. So cool to see him. Ertsu was not on my radar, and you'll remember why. I said he's going to pick something weird, and it's not going to go well, and so I'm not picking him. And I made a mistake. I will say, Ertsu, if you're watching this, I apologize. You picked up something, even me expecting you to do something unexpected, you did another step, doing the Chimera TC, something that I never would have expected, and you came up with a great finish despite those tough 2 tracks to start out with. So big strategic dub for Ertsu there, and you deserve a shout out. Now, while we do have a second, I also want to give a shout out. We got Raven the Cat as well. It's so good to see you in the Revolt community. Yes, please come over to RVGL. If you're enjoying that Steam version, you're going to like RVGL a whole lot more. We've got custom everything, tons of people constantly working on the community. So shout out to you for being a new person, and welcome. Goter, I gotta let you talk for a minute. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm just looking at the table after the 3 play days, and there is going to be some changes. I don't think Frostbitten will overtake GeForce, but he might. For sure, Powerade will match GeForce. So this is going to be kind of close for the next session. I'm still waiting for the confirmation. Okay, it is ready. I will update the table and you'll see at the standings what is happening with them. Yes, exactly, and that's what I said. Let's check. Frostbitten actually taking taking the first place, overtaking GeForce that was not able to race today, so he skipped today's session. I think you mentioned Hong, I don't remember exactly, but we have 10 play days. and we'll choose the 7 or 8 best session results for the players, so they can skip some, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. And we can get confirmation if y'all want. Yes, indeed. Best 7 out of 10. And so they can miss a few sessions. For example, we had Yun who couldn't make it to today's session. So we are looking at the overall standings, right?
Yes, and
So, yes, yes.
Nick getting a huge boof
Yes.
because he had only 16 points, so now he's grinding the ranks. Laggy Rock, even though he didn't have the best session, still maintaining that high top 4 position. But it's really tight. It's extremely tight. I feel like it's more tight than we had it last season after the 4 play days. Now it's really close between all the players. Frost, GeForce, Powerade, Laggy Rock. Still looking at Jan, Nick is there, Hilabarus always dangerous, Makakowski as well, showing really strong. BGM had some nice races. Ersu finally having a really good session. I feel like he was struggling a little bit in the previous ones. Sting, he was not able to attend today. Ama
Yeah.
against some strong races. Matty, I think Matty won one race today. I think he won. He won one.
He was
Pretty well.
certainly leading a couple of them.
Yeah.
Might have won one, but he wasn't able to find the results that he was hoping for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Dum Dum
but
still
yeah,
waiting.
I
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
gonna
the Tom
finish.
Dom.
Dum Dum still waiting for
Mm.
him to show up, but don't feel bad. I know bad days happen. People maybe are hyping you out, so just reset, relax. Next play day gonna be good. You can forget about it. Lampert missing today and Kiki as well on the occupying the bottom two.
And of course, it's always bad to be like, oh, this person isn't doing well. But the truth is, I would Tom Dom is definitely one of those people who was on the border as far as qualifications went, and as far as I'd say skill goes. And I think it's so good for him to be competing up here in Division 1 with those top players. And I think it's going to make him a lot better as a result. So I think we could definitely see if Tom Dom keeps putting in work. We saw actually this was his highest point session so far, so he could keep ramping up. And this was actually Maddie's highest point session so far as well. So we could potentially, if they keep putting in work, we could see them ramp up. There's also something to be said. Like, I'm not really one to just create like fake hype, but Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3 have been really ridiculously evenly matched. Like, TT has been pulling away in Division 2, but he's really the only anomaly. And even below that, it's like really close battles. So there's really something to be said that's special about this season. The qualifications went really well. They put people really evenly matched. They created very evenly matched lobbies. And we're kind of seeing the fruits of that labor now in these great matches. So yeah.
Yeah. And also, unfortunately, from one of the downsides, a friend who was editing the challenges for me is not able to do it. But I finished the second challenge. As a rule, I will try to finish all of those challenges. Just keep you updated about them, and I encourage all of you to try to challenge yourself to finish them as well. You can check them on our Discord.
Yeah.
I gonna try to speed run the first challenge and go with the more of them, just to have fun, just to try myself out. But for the next week, we're gonna have Playday 5, and Playday 5, just let me check what do we have for the Playday 5. Do we already have it updated though? Let me check what do we have enrolled for the next session. Where is it? Session 5. Session 5. We will have Circuit pick. Wait, no. Featured Pro picks up on. Finally, we're gonna have picks ups on. This is one of my favorite things to happen. So we're gonna have weapons and a lot of fun chaos.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yes, we've got the RVC tomorrow, of course, and then we'll be back on our RVRL action Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Indeed, And yeah, like you were saying, the featured session coming up, pickups on, then we'll have 2 pickups off, 1 more pickup on, and we'll finish it off with 2 pickups off. So we are approaching the halfway point in our league. Featured session will mark the halfway point officially. And honestly, it's just been such a better. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first season was amazing. I loved it. A lot of people loved it, but this season is just going so incredibly well so far, and I'm so excited to see how it plays out by the end, for sure.
Anyways, guys, remember to support the league. All the subs are going to the prize pool. We want to match some of the donations goals. Maybe something special will happen for the next as announcement. We'll see about that. Also, the donation is up. We're gonna try to make for the next stream the goal visible, so you can see, you know, like where we stand if you want to keep supporting. But for now, obviously, every sub goes to the prize pool. So if you want to increase the prize pool, you know, I won't hold you back with that. If you appreciate the work here, especially for, I mean, I just do here the stream and I'm here, but Honk is always there for you. Nick, all the boys are, you know, like hosting this. Jerome is giving the feed that are, you know, making all of this requires a lot of man effort. So if you appreciate the work, if you want more of it, you know, you have a great community. So keep supporting it. So you have all the content you want. We just try to make it fun to you and as enjoyable experience as possible. Anyway, I think it is it for today, Hong. We're gonna see you on the next play days, and I think bye bye everyone.